Welcome to Chemistry with Dr. G. In this video, I will be discussing the use of alkanes as fuel and the different problems associated with their use as fuel. So first of all, alkanes are used as fuel. This is because in presence of excess of oxygen, they undergo complete combustion. And complete combustion will produce carbon dioxide and water. This is very important for the use of alkanes as fuel because this is an exothermic reaction, which means it produces a large quantity or a large amount of energy. So the good side of using alkanes as fuel is that it produces a lot of energy, and it can be used in power stations, central heating systems, and in car engines. However, there is a downside for that because it produces a lot of pollutants. So one of the major problems for using alkanes as a fuel is the greenhouse gases and global warming. So complete combustion of the fuel or of hydrocarbons as fuel will produce carbon dioxide and water. Both of these are greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are important because they actually maintain the temperature on Earth enough to support life. So what is the greenhouse gas effect? The electromagnetic radiation coming from the sun passes through the Earth's atmosphere. And the Earth will absorb most of these radiations, and it will re-emit some of these radiations in the form of infrared radiation, which is the heating ones. Some of this infrared radiation is absorbed back by the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and water, and they will be re-emitted into the Earth again, and that will cause the warming of the Earth atmosphere. However, the accumulation or the increased quantities of these greenhouse gases will cause the increase in the temperature of Earth, and that is called the global warming. Many scientists believe that these gases or these greenhouse gases or accumulation of these greenhouse gases causes the main cause for global warming. The second issue here is the incomplete combustion. So if there isn't enough oxygen, the hydrocarbons, which are used as fuel, will then burn with incomplete combustion or undergo incomplete combustion, and that can produce carbon monoxide and fine particles. So this is an equation for burning of octane in absence of excess oxygen, and it produces a mixture of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and water in addition to heat. So what is the problem with carbon monoxide? Carbon monoxide is a silent killer because it cannot be seen or smelled or heard. So it can only be detected if we use specific detectors. And carbon monoxide, the main issue with carbon monoxide and why is it poisonous is because carbon monoxide can bind to the hemoglobin in the red blood cells at the same binding site for oxygen. They even have higher affinity, or they can bind even stronger to hemoglobin than oxygen. That means in presence of carbon monoxide, the blood will not be able to carry the oxygen around the body, and that causes the carbon monoxide poisoning. The other problem with incomplete combustion, in addition to carbon monoxide, we said that it will produce fine particles as well. Fine particles are carbon and or we call it soot. So these fine particles, when they are produced, they can cause breathing problems, and also they can build up in engines, and that means that engines will not work properly. Another problem for the use of hydrocarbons as fuel is the production of unburned hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides. So when the car engines work, they produce a lot of heat, and there is also high pressure. In presence of high temperature and pressure in the car engine, that can cause the nitrogen and oxygen from air to react together, and that will produce different nitrogen oxides. Also, in car engines or during the burning of the hydrocarbons, some of the hydrocarbons are not burned. So there are some unburned hydrocarbons. Both nitrogen oxides and unburned hydrocarbons can react together, and when they do, they will produce ground level ozone or smog. Ground level ozone or smog is problematic because they can cause eye irritation, they can aggravate respiratory problems, and also they can cause lung damage. Another problem for the use of hydrocarbons as fuel is the production of acid rain. So how does the burning of hydrocarbon contribute to the use of acid rain? First of all, we said that under the high temperature and pressure in car engine, nitrogen and oxygen from air will react together to give nitrogen oxides. Also, the different types of fuel like natural gas, petroleum, and coal, they not just contain carbon and hydrogen, they also contain sulfur. And when the hydrocarbon is burned, sulfur is also burned, so it will react with oxygen and it will produce sulfur oxides. So how is the acid rain formed? So the different oxides like nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, which are produced, can react with water when they are released in air from the rain, water from the rain, and then that will produce acids. These acids are nitric acid and sulfuric acid. These acids are a source of a proton or source of hydrogen ions, and that causes the production of acid rain. The acid rain has several problems because it corrodes rocks and buildings. It alters the pH of soil or rivers, which can affect the ecosystem, and it also corrodes limestone, which damages buildings and statues. So how can the different pollutants be removed from the car engine? First of all, the use of catalytic converters. This can remove both carbon monoxide and fine particles. Also, it removes the nitrogen oxides and unburned hydrocarbon. What about sulfur? The use of calcium carbonate and calcium oxide can help in removing sulfur dioxide from power station flue gases. So how does it work? So calcium carbonate or calcium oxide are mixed with water and that gives alkaline slurry. The alkaline slurry then reacts with sulfur dioxide before it's released to air, and that will give a salt, a harmless salt called calcium sulfide. So this is how the different pollutants can be removed after the use of hydrocarbon as fuel.